last several years, we have seen Fortnite put a larger and larger emphasis on collaborations with other franchises. And sometimes we even get collaboration mythic items, and in this video we are going to look at the best mythic collaboration items of all time. With that being said, guys, let's get right into it. Remember, use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop if you are interested in helping support these videos and my channel, but let's now finally get into it. I wanted to give a honorable mention in the beginning of this video, and that's going to be Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet all the way from Chapter 1, Season 4, I believe. This was obviously the most broken collab item we've ever seen. It was meant to be belligerently overpowered. It was supposed to be stronger than everything else, so I'm not going to give it its own spot on this list, but it's obviously the strongest, and it was meant to be that way. And of course, we're only talking about Battle Royale exclusives here, no LTMs, and so let's start off the video with waterbending. I think you could put some of the other Avatar mythics in here, but I don't know, waterbending just felt the absolute strongest to me. And to be honest with you, waterbending is actually probably one of the best mythics of all time, not just collab mythics, but just mythics or even items of all time. It was relatively easy to find. You had a 3-round burst that was essentially hit scan. It wasn't definitely hit scan, but it was essentially hit scan, right? Like if you had your crosshair on them, like you were gonna hit them most times. It had healing effects, a quick reload speed, and unlimited ammo. I mean, what else do you want? It did big time damage as well. Again, because I think how prevalent it was and how almost easy it was to get. I mean, towards the end of Chapter 5, Season 2, waterbending was pretty much everywhere. Like, you had no problem finding waterbending, even if it was a mythic. I think that helps its case a lot. This was a really good mythic. It was in my video of some of Fortnite's most overpowered items of all time, and it will definitely be in this video of some of Fortnite's best collaboration items of all time. Next, let's talk about the Nimbus Cloud from, I believe it was Chapter 3, Season 4. If you were to come to me and say that you thought that this was the best mobility item of all time, I would not knock you for that. It was incredibly strong. And there are a couple things that make it super strong. One, you could just use it wherever. If you were in a box, you would just press the button and there you go flying out of the box, flying into the air. It was that strong, right? So if you just kind of got caught off guard and you needed to just get out, boom, you pop it and it's gone. Also, it is unlimited, right? So of course there's a cooldown, a timer, but you have it unlimited. You have unlimited mobility for the entire game. And now you may be saying, well, you're in the air, you're an easy shot, right? And you're just gliding through the air, easy shot. Well, you had no fall damage. So if you just pop the same button that you used to activate it, you could just drop onto the ground from however high up and take no fall damage. You could join any fight you wanted, or you could leave any fight you wanted in an instant. And if you had to rotate the zone, just pop the cloud and there you go, you're off. This is one of my favorite mobility items on this list, and we definitely will be seeing other mobility items coming up, but Nimbus was really, really good. Next, I'm gonna do a little bit of a cheat pick here, and that's gonna be kind of all the Marvel mythics from Chapter 2, Season 4. Let me explain a little bit. I'm not gonna say all of them, but I think the majority of them are really, really good mythics, with the exception of Black Panther's kinetic armor. I think that was one of the weaker ones. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. I think the Mythic Storm ability was not great either. It just pushed everybody back, and there were a couple other weaker ones, but I think the really strong ones stand out. Of course, Silver Surfer's board is essentially just the Nimbus Cloud, right? Or I guess the other way around. Nimbus was just a reskin of Silver Surfer's board. I thought Groot's Bramble Shield was extremely strong as well, and of course Doctor Doom's abilities, both of them I think were really good, and Iron Man, specifically the Unibeam, was basically the railgun before the railgun. It was really strong. There are just way too many mythics from Chapter 2, Season 4 for me to list them all, but I think the majority deserve a spot on this list, so I kind of had to pick a couple to me that just stood out. But guys, next we have to talk about the Spider-Man web shooters, because I think a lot of people regard this as the best mobility item of all time. Of course, it got nerfed a couple times to how many swings that you could do, but guys, I mean, look at this item, look at the gameplay, it is incredibly strong. This may be one of the only mythic items where you could genuinely just go across the entire map. It did not matter. As long as there was a tree or a house or something to grapple onto, with one use of this item, you could go across the entire map. It was that strong. And just besides the item being very good, it was really, really fun to use. and in my opinion, one of the highlights of Chapter 3, Season 1. The ability to, again, like I said with the Nimbus Cloud, join or leave any fight is a pro and a con, of course. If you're fighting against somebody with this ability and you got them down to 1 HP, see you later, they were gone. And let's be honest, it was kind of hard to hit somebody who's jumping back and forth between tree to tree to tree. It's kind of tough. But again, this weapon was fun, it was really, really strong, and in my opinion, personally, the best mobility item we've ever seen, so you know it had to have a spot on this list. And of course, I have to continue talking about mobility because the ODM gear exists. In any video I make about mythic items or mobility items, and I leave out ODM gear or talk badly about it, there's always a section of people in my comments that just rip me for it. They love ODM gear. And I can't lie, while it's not my favorite mythic item I've ever had, or even mobility item we've ever had, or even the best mobility item that season, I think the kinetic blade was better, I cannot deny that it is a great item. You know, to be honest with you, when I was making this list, there's really not a ton of great collaboration weapons that really stand out. The majority are kind of mid. I'm looking at you, Deadpool's dual hand cannons. But I think everybody watching this video can agree that the ODM gear, not just for its mobility aspect, but also if you forget, you could latch on to people and just basically smash them, right? But anyways, I think people are going to agree with this being on the list, so for all you ODM gear lovers, here it is. Next, why don't we talk about my favorite, or one of my favorite sniper rifles of all time. That's the Amban sniper rifle. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but if you remember, this is the Mandalorian sniper rifle with the thermal scope from Chapter 2, Season 5. And to be honest with you, it's really nothing different than just a regular bolt with a thermal scope, but you also had a melee portion attached to it, which albeit was not great, but still cool. I think the Mandalorian in his entirety is a really, really cool character, so to be able to use his sniper rifle was really sick. It honestly sounded amazing. The thermal scope literally felt like aimbot. It felt so strong. You have to remember, this, if I remember correctly, is the first time we got a thermal scope on a sniper rifle. I just think that it's a really solid sniper. I think it's one of the best snipers we've ever seen. I really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of other people did as well, so I'm going to put it onto this list. And you knew I couldn't have a list of the best collab items without including the 3 anime mythics. It was Hollow Purple, Deku's Smash, and I forget the other one, but I remember it being with the Nimbus Cloud. I'm not a big anime fan or knower of any of it, so cut me some slack on this. But it doesn't really matter because they all essentially did the same thing. You would basically go in the air, you were super vulnerable, made a super loud noise, everyone could see you, but if you didn't get killed when you were in the air, you would just like push forward a beam or just a huge purple ball or a big ball of wind. You get what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to explain, but essentially it was just this big wall of damage coming at you, and if you didn't get out of the way, you know, you were done for, essentially. I was honestly debating putting these on the list because they are extremely powerful. There's no debating that, but you were literally left a sitting duck for 4, 5, 6 seconds. If you remember, you would just sit in the air and basically still, and anybody who had a sniper rifle could snipe you. You were done for. But again, if you made it out of that and you didn't get sniped, you were going to kill anybody that was in front of you. It was just that strong. The gameplay will speak for itself. So I think that they definitely do deserve a spot on this list. They may be one of the more controversial ones here, but they definitely deserve a spot on this list. And for my final selection, I was torn between 3 items really. It was either the Stark Industries rifle, which I understand is not a mythic, but it's just about collaboration weapons here. So it was either going to be the Stark Industries rifle, the Cybertron Cannon, or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mythics, all 4 of them. And I feel like I never talk about Chapter 4 of Season 3 Wilds on this channel, and that's for a good reason. I don't like it. But I think the Cybertron Cannon was a shining star in this season. Look, there's no debating it. I think the Cybertron Cannon was insanely overpowered. It was way too strong. And it was really, really annoying to go up against. You had an infinite rocket launcher. Remember, this is infinite. You would just regen ammo, and there was no like drop on the projectile at all. You could shoot 200, 300, 400 meters and the big ball of energy would just stay on the same path. It was insanely strong. And they tried to like kind of nerf it or counter this with the fact that it would like shoot you back when you shot it, so you kind of had to be careful. I killed myself way too many times jumping up in the air, shooting it, and going flying off my builds off the cliff. But I just think the premise of having essentially an unlimited rocket launcher that did a ton of damage, it was easily 100 plus, was really, really good. And if you don't remember, this is the Transformers collaboration we had during that season. Also, a little side note, the fact that it became your back bling like while you were using it, I thought was really cool, but a little bit of an annoying weapon. And I think a lot of people are going to kind of disagree with this one, because if you had a squad of 2 or 3 of these, goodbye, you were done. It was essentially just total spam. You would just get disintegrated. But again, it's one of those situations, if you can't beat them, join them, and I think that was the case with the Cybertron Cannon, but it was a really strong collaboration item. So yeah, guys, that's my list for some of Fortnite's best collab items we have ever seen over the 7-year history of Fortnite. Let me know in the comment section, do you agree, do you disagree, what did I miss, what did I hit on? Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers, so let's get there if you're listening to this, but I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.